lit a bit of a fire. This is something we've been focused on digital currencies for, a couple decades. This is something we've been focused on digital currencies for, a couple decades.
The potential of FedNow is significant. America has lacked a real-time payment system that any bank could operate into. We had one in the real-time payments network that the private banks built. It had limited usage in part because the Fed announced they were going to build their own system, so the Fed kind of put a chilling effect. Most of the rest of the world has real-time payments. When people come from Europe, from the UK, from Asia, they're shocked at how slow things take to settle on the back end in America. FedNow is a tool that could make that happen.
So it's interesting. This is really about settlements here and payments, but how do you rope in the conversation around central bank digital currencies as it pertains to FedNow?
Well, so central bank digital currencies, that to be a digital currency, we have digital currency. We have commercial bank digital currency, right? The question is, should we swap the first C, commercial bank, for a new C, central bank? A lot of other countries are thinking about this, in part because they're concerned about disintermediation from crypto and other digital currencies that don't have a B in them, bank. I'm skeptical of the case for central bank digital currency, particularly in the United States, but also more so globally. And I think there's been a lot of rumors and falsehoods propagated, primarily online, that FedNow is somehow some linkage and going to start a central bank digital currency. In reality, a central bank digital currency is pretty far away in the United States, if at all. Really, I share those concerns. I think FedNow has a real danger of being a plop, a bust. Particularly if you look at the original, there's only a handful of banks, I think in the upper 30s that signed up. There are about 20 more providers. I think it could be a bigger boon for things like Plaid and other fintechs that are intermediaries. In order for the Fed to really make FedNow or faster payments a reality in America, they're going to have to use their regulatory authority to give people access to their money faster. Why? Banks make a lot of money sitting on people's money. So it's not necessarily in the bank's best interest to be an early adopter and to give people access to their money faster, particularly when you consider such unique American things like overdraft fees, which are multi-billion-dollar sources of profit in the banking industry.
To crypto in terms of being a payments mechanism?
Yeah, look, I think there's the danger is that FedNow is an overhyped solution that the Fed fails to follow through with and then draws the wrong inference that there isn't demand for faster payments. The rest of the world moved to faster payments years ago, right? England's had this system since the first iPhone came out. As it relates to crypto, it's a little confusing. Crypto has long hyped that they were going to be this real-time payment system. And the reality is blockchain is slow. So FedNow is much faster, and in fact, Visa maintains to be the fastest in the class, far faster than any crypto that I'm aware of.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And guys, we have Aaron Klein on Bloomberg, and we see they're playing the Hegelian dialectic. And guys, we know FedNow is interoperable. It's leading us into this new digital financial system. And he states that blockchain is slow. Guys, we know XRP, Bitcoin, Lightning, and XLM makes payments way faster than Visa and MasterCard. And how do we know this? Because we know our government used Stellar to move USDC to Ukraine refugees. Guys, our government is already using this technology. And we know the Fed has been testing CBDCs. We know the technology is ready behind the curtain. But we know this is a plan, guys. It moves in phases. And we're definitely seeing cracks showing up in the U.S. economy plus the global economy. Remember that keeping rates higher for longer in order to create this fragmented world. Remember what Klaus from the World Economic Forum stated. It's a fragmented world, and we know why. Because they want to bring in the fourth industrial revolution, where the robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep go inside the metaverse. And we have Amazon investing $7.2 billion in Israel, bringing on those data centers, the cloud. And we know whoever controls the data controls the globe. And we have Tim Tebow on Fox News asked about a poll that was done The people are losing their faith in Yahweh. They're turning their back on Yahweh. And guys, that's the reason why we're witnessing the fall of America to Babylon 2.0 and the rise of China the dragon.
My people perish from the lack of knowledge.
Because they reject it, not because it's not there. They stay distracted on things that don't matter, and we know Yahweh is going to reject his children. And guys, we're seeing it happen right in front of our eyes.
Time to wake up.
Because you don't want to get caught on the wrong side of history.
Get in the lab.
So you don't fall for the devil's tricks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, so it's a great point. People think about the government as one entity, but they're really multiple power centers struggling, right? The Federal Reserve, I think, is quite intrigued by the idea of a central bank digital currency. Sometimes I think the Federal Reserve reminds me of the Will Ferrell and that Mount More cowbell skit on SNL. Like the Fed sees a problem and the answer is always more Fed, right? But other parts of the federal government aren't as clear. President Biden, in his executive order, said the Department of Justice is the arbiter whether or not existing law allows the Fed to issue a central bank digital currency. Prior to that, the Fed said it was the arbiter of whether the law gave it that authority or not. Rumors in D.C. are DOJ has been very clear that Fed lacks existing legal authority. Members of Congress have asked to see a memo required under an executive order produced by DOJ. The White House hasn't shared that memo. So, it's not entirely clear that the government is all on the same page of this. And the Department of Justice is flexing its muscle in other areas in financial regulation. Here at Brookings, we hosted DOJ's Associate General Cantor, who spoke at Brookings and put a little cold water on bank mergers, something that historically the regulators have handled and DOJ has just kind of stamped along. And now he's saying DOJ could flex its authority in that area too.
What I think is interesting about what you just mentioned really relates to market conditions today. Why is the deficit growing if we supposedly have such a robust economy? And that's really what I think some people should be asking. The reality is we've had this huge stealth fiscal impulse over the past half a year because revenues have failed to come in. Now, why are revenues failing to come in? Clearly, the strength of the economy is probably not as robust as it may seem from recent macro data. It looks very good, but that's kind of in the rearview mirror. You look ahead and a lot of cracks are showing. It's the classic long and variable lags, but they really are happening.
Amazon is planning to invest $7.2 billion through the year 2037 in Israel. The tech giant launched its Amazon Web Services data centers in the country. The expansion now making AWS available in 32 geographic regions. AWS is Amazon's cloud computing platform, and it's used by companies to enable storage, networking, and remote security. The expansion will allow Israel's government to run apps and store data within centers inside the country. Amazon says it expects its investment to contribute about $13.9 billion to Israel's GDP.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned God and our faith. I know you have a very strong faith, but we got a new poll from Gallup this week, and it reveals, among other things, that Americans' faith in God and in heaven is eroding. What are your thoughts on this poll and others that show more Americans are actually turning away from religion and turning away from God and our traditional values, Tim?
Well, that's definitely something that is disappointing. But at the same time, I would want to share a little bit of the other side is that I've seen also statistics on Gen Z, how they're so open to things of faith, to things about God, to things about the Bible and Jesus. And so while some people may be turning away, you also got a young population that is very open to asking questions. And I think it's our job as believers to be able to share and love them and share the truth in love with people, and also I think do it humbly, because I think one thing that happens in church is people look at the people in church and they say, well, they're hypocrites. And the truth is we all are, because we're all fallen and we're all messed up. But the amazing thing about Christianity is that we get to serve someone that has never messed up, has never screwed up. And so we get to point people not to us, but to Jesus. And when they see and experience who Jesus is, what he has done for us, his love for humanity, for all of us, that's what changes lives.
And thanks be to God for that. Tim, it's great to talk with you. Thanks very much for being here.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.